Reunited to sustain Christians in the Holy Land. A week full of appointments just ended for the Bishops of the Holy Land Coordination, the Bishop Conference Coordination sustaining the Church in the Holy Land, which meets every year in Jerusalem. The Muslim community in Jerusalem condemns the massacre of Copts in Alexandria before anyone else. Shekh Ibrahim Khadil, the Mufti's auxiliary economist in the Holy City, talks to our TV cameras. The Apocalypse, a difficult, mysterious and fascinating book. We will speak with Father Michele Mazzeo, who held a course on the last book of the Bible in Jerusalem, organized by the Franciscan Biblical Studio. In Virgin Mary's Footsteps, the title of the brochure edited by the Israeli Ministry of Tourism was presented the past days in Ein Karem, an initiative which is part of the promotion of Holy Land sites dear to Christianity. In the last 10 years, every January, there is an established appointment. The visit in this land of the Bishops' Coordination Conferences in favour of the churches of the Holy Land and the Assembly of the Catholic Bishops in the Holy Land, that is, the Holy Land Coordination. A week of meetings, debates and visits to Jesus' sites to rediscover the beauty and put into focus the problems and contradictions that have always animated this fragile piece of land. More than 30 participants, including bishops and other collaborators. A marked increase in numbers in comparison to past editions. A daily confrontation on themes such as ecumenism, interreligious dialogue and education, highlighted by the facts in Alexandria and in a moment where religious relations are at a crucial point.
This attack unites us more than ever to Copts, Orthodox and to those who are facing problems. In any case, we should reflect on the dialogue with Islam after the attacks in Baghdad and in Egypt. Last Christmas in Egypt, another 6 Christians died. We believe in dialoguing with both Muslims and Jews, as amongst us. Indeed, the more the problems, the more we are pushed towards dialogue.
Sia con l'Islam, sia con gli ebrei, sia tra noi stessi. Anzi, forse più ci sono problemi, più siamo spinti a dialogare.
I honestly think it is. There are extremists, I'm afraid, in almost every party, including Christians as well. So that I honestly do believe it is. But what we have got to appeal to is to the great number of moderate people in whatever constituency it is.
Therefore, there is no lack of the will to dialogue. On the contrary, it is stronger. In particular, the visit to the Orthodox Patriarch last Monday to exchange greetings once more witnessed that what unites Christians, as the Pope recalled, is stronger than what divides them. He gave verve also in facing charity education themes and on ordinations in the Holy Land. On the whole, a closing balance which is largely positive.
La discussion principale qui a lieu dans le cadre de la coordination des évêques.
The main discussion among the Bishops' Coordination Conference in the United States, Canada, and a few countries in Europe have obviously a big importance in the present relation lived by Christians with Muslims and Jews. Therefore, all the issues regarding their lives and relationships are often very difficult in the situation lived in this country, the Holy Land.
Et des Juifs. Donc toutes les questions concernant leur vie et également les relations, souvent très difficiles au vu de la situation dans ce pays, dans cette terre sainte.
There is a difficult policy for the Church, and I believe we have to sustain this Church more, for the prayer, for pilgrimages, but also to lobby our governments in order to open the freedom of thought in this country. We had official meetings, let's say, also with the Orthodox Patriarch yesterday in Ramallah, and during these meetings the constant subject was the tragedy in Alexandria, and in addition, had solidarity from, for example, the Prime Minister Fayyad and the Patriarch of the Greek Orthodox Church.
If the peace is possible, I suppose it is possible, but how, I don't really know. Yesterday we heard that for the Palestinians the peace is possible as long as Israel recognizes the frontiers of 1967. Is it possible for the Israeli to recognize that? I'm not sure.
Now, the group of those who believe are one heart and one soul. This is the opening sentence that now all who have participated pronounce with greater conviction. Together, heart and soul, for the Holy Land.
This year, our attention focused on the meeting of all Christian confessions. These are the first sentences of the final Holy Land press release given to the journalist after a week full of meetings and moments of confrontation. When we say we are Christians, as said by the bishops, it is to build bridges, and our hope is to bring everyone to a just peace in this land. Citing the Pope, the benefits that each pilgrim feels are perceived after a pilgrimage in the land of Jesus. For this, they continue, we encourage pilgrims to visit the land where Jesus walked and encourage people to live their faith publicly. One more note on human rights, which unfortunately is not positive. The bishops claim their limitation and ensure their work for a future where the lives, dignity, and the rights of both Israelis and Palestinians must be protected and respected. A hope for a new society that starts first of all with education. In the last release appeal, the bishops addressed it to those who teach children, in order to help them grow in respect for human rights and dignity of every human being created by God, respecting their beliefs, their cultures, and their nationality. We pray God, as one can read in the end, to give courage and bless His people with peace, especially in the land we call holy.
Following the massacre of Copts in Egypt and Alexandria, the main subject of discussion is interreligious dialogue. We asked Shekh Ibrahim Khadil, auxiliary economist of the Mufti in Jerusalem, to explain to us if the facts that happened in Egypt affected the Muslim community in the Holy City.
We as believers condemned the act as soon as we received the news about the massacre in the church. The Mufti Center in Jerusalem sent written condemnation both to local media and many TV channels. Disapproval notes and sadness were written in the name of the Mufti. We also went to the Egyptian embassy in Ramallah to give our condolences. We also sent letters of condolences to the family of the victims in Egypt. We Christians and Muslims are citizens of only one country and endure the same sufferings, and many are the things that unite us.
Let's speak about this. What is the relationship between you?
It is particular, in all the Middle East, especially in Jerusalem and in Palestine. I live in a city, Bet Saur, where the majority is Christian, and I participate to their joys as they join ours. We live in the same place, with the same difficulties, with the same conditions. The level of cohabitation is exemplary, a model to imitate. We have to look at this relation.
According to you, can the facts of Alexandria reach here?
I honestly believe it is difficult. We are concerned first of all about the safety of the Palestinian people and have faith in its maturity, that these actions may never be repeated. Of course, our safety is not better than the one in Egypt, but what happened is really a borderline case, since Muslims and Copts have lived together for centuries without problems. This violence is not normal, and the Muslims have condemned it, even before the Christians.
Would you like to say something to the Copts? In consideration of the declarations seen on mass media, what would you like to say?
In general, Copts and Christians understood the situation. These condemnations were wise and responsible. They brought us towards unity, not to create further polemics.
As a conclusion to the interview, Shekh Ibrahim Khadil tells us, "We do not accept neither the facts in Alexandria nor in the rest of the world. In prayer places and houses, religious people must not face violence. That is what we believe. These are our mansions, values, and teachings." The Apocalypse is a mysterious and fascinating book, as suggested by the Greek word meaning revelation. There is a Bible study course organized by the Franciscan Biblical School in Jerusalem, which specifically concentrates on this book. The course is given by Professor Father Michele Mazzeo, and this research course was designed as an introduction and a theological, exegetical approach.
The Apocalypse is a book that reaches us through John of Patmos, from a small island in the Sporades in Greece, Minor Asia. On the day of our Lord, John had a vision of Christ. The vision of Christ, for the last time, comes back to speak demandingly to his church. In this vision, Christ says to John, "What you see, write it in a book and send it to the churches."
For Father Mazzeo, the Apocalypse is a difficult book. Saint Jerome affirms, each word contains a mystery. In the history of the exegesis, the last book of the Bible was often interpreted incorrectly, not faithful to the original message.
Truly speaking, the author of the Apocalypse, John of Patmos, the prophet, wants to help Christians interpret the fight between good and evil, which exists in each historical period, nowadays too.
The book is divided into two parts. The first contains a series of letters sent to the churches. In the second part, there are visions following images that express God's judgment about history. Evil in the present is described through a symbolic language, which, if well interpreted, offers a key lecture to the sense of history from light to faith.
Jesus in the Apocalypse reveals himself. He presents himself to John. "I am the Alpha and the Omega." What does it mean? I am the beginning of creation, of each man's life.
Della creazione e della vita di ogni uomo.
In Virgin Mary's Footsteps, such is the title of the brochure presented Tuesday morning by the Israeli Ministry of Tourism in Ein Karem, just outside Jerusalem. In the presence of the custodian of the Holy Land, Pier Battista Pizzaballa, with agreeable musical accompaniment of Nama Woman Choir, a booklet was presented which covers all the holy places, one by one, seen with the eyes of Mary. It starts from Zippori, in Galilee, passing by the Basilica of the Annunciation in Nazareth, and in end, arriving in Ein Karem.
Il percorso della Madonna in questa terra è il percorso di Gesù.
Mary's path is Jesus' path. For sure the love of Our Lady is in the shadow of the love for Jesus. Mary's places are also Jesus' places, where Jesus was born, where he was conceived, where he grew up, where for the first time he moved, for sure putting a special emphasis on the image of Mary for devotion and tradition. These itineraries were made more for commercial than spiritual purpose that we accept.
Sono stati fatti questi itinerari che noi accettiamo.
Thus an approval from the custody for initiative that is part of the promotion of sites which are dear to all Christianity in the Holy Land, after a year where the touristic vocation has been furthermore confirmed.
The concept of a pilgrimage in the Holy Land in the footsteps of the Virgin Mary is not a new concept. This is something that had been since the beginning, because this is a place where the Virgin Mary was born. This is the place of the Annunciation. This is the place of the Assumption. This is the place when she led, in the Christian beliefs, this is the place where she led to Jesus. So it's very natural to have a pilgrimage in her honor in the Holy Land. So the ministry, realizing the importance of the Virgin Mary for the Catholic believers, the ministry took the initiative of producing a brochure that helped the pilgrimage organizers. This is a place. This is where it all began. The Ministry of Tourism has the policy to encourage pilgrimage and goes with the beliefs of the Christian. That's why we produced the brochure.
Following the ceremony, the Jewish guide led the many curious to discover the Church of the Visitation, that tradition recalls as the place where Mary met her cousin Elizabeth.